So, hello everyone. Thank you so much for logging on and watching episode 4 of Diamond TV. So, this evening we have Cherrelle, who's going to be talking about her amazing cake business. Now, I have tried her cake and I can guarantee that this cake is just absolutely incredible. So, she's very, very talented. She makes just amazing, bespoke, luxurious, like I say luxurious, but actually you cater to like all different prices and everything like that, which is amazing. So I'm not going to say any more. I'm going to pass you over to Cherrelle. She's just going to introduce herself and tell you a little bit about herself.
Cool.
Hi.
So, hi. So basically, I just set up my business at the end of last year. I'd been a hobby baker for about 6 years. People constantly telling me, "Oh, you need to do that as a business. You know, your cakes are great, etc., etc." And then it just got to a point where I thought, actually, I could do this as a business, and I enjoy doing it. I'm passionate about it, so why not? So I started at the end of last year, just building myself up. I'm still new to it all. Obviously, as you know, I suffer with bipolar disorder, so that for me has always been a setback in life. It's always sort of held me back. But I got to a point in life where I've sort of been able to control it more now as I'm getting older, and I'm aware of when I'm getting episodes. So I thought, actually, I'm more in control of that now. So why not give this a go and just see where it leads?
Amazing. And what's like your background? Like, because obviously this baking, you don't really have a background in baking as such, do you? So what were like your interests and everything like before you kind of decided that you wanted to go down this route?
Um, I think the baking side, I'd say it's probably come from my dad's side of the family. Like, it's always been food. I love cooking. So I've always been in the kitchen and I've loved baking. And it actually started from making my son's birthday cake. This is how it all started. He was a Superman, Batman, Spider-Man cake. So I made him that and it turned out all right. And I thought, oh, actually, I've got a bit of a flair for this. So yeah, it sort of started from there.
Yeah, so it started from just like a random thing where you were like, I'll just give it a go,
Yeah.
and then that was it. I think I
Yeah.
remember. Did you post that on Facebook? The picture of the cake.
Yeah.
I think I remember you doing that, and you were like, "This is my first attempt," and like you're
Yeah.
really pleased with it. And I was like, "Oh my god, that's amazing."
I was, but I look back now and it's like shocking. I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah,
it
but
looks
to us,
terrible.
it's amazing. That's fine. And so, what do you? I know we're going to talk a little bit more about your mental health and everything in a minute, but what kind of how do you feel about like having your own business? Like, what are the highs? What are the lows? Like, what do you kind of want to say to people about doing this and having your own thing? Do you recommend anything? Just what are your thoughts, basically?
Yeah. So having my own business is great for me. Obviously, the mental health side of it is perfect because I suffer with anxiety and things like that. So being in employment, especially if I get a depressive episode, it can be hard, and you're worried if your employer's not going to understand, and you've always got that worry at the back of your head. So that's the perks for me. I'm my own boss. If I do get low, I'm safe. I'm in my home, and I haven't got anyone to answer to really. So that is the perks. I have children as well, so I can work my hours around them. I can work in the evening when they're in bed. But the downside to it, I would say, is probably the isolation. So
Mhm.
because I am working at home and on my own, I'm not interacting with adults. So, it's that bit of isolation and just not being around a work environment and around people. But no, I'd say there's probably more positives than negatives.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean about that isolation. So obviously, I've got my own business as well, and I went from kind of going from not an office job, but like seeing a team and being with people all the time, to then like just doing it on your own, and you're like, oh my god, like you just miss the little things, don't you? Just
Yeah,
like going for a drink after work or like whatever it might be.
just even having a laugh or having someone to talk to. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. So I want to talk a little bit more about your mental health and how you feel having your own business. I know you've touched a little bit on, the positive stuff, but if you want to go into a bit more detail about how you feel like it's really helped you.
Yeah. So obviously I've suffered massively over the years with it. I wasn't diagnosed until I was 23. So my life up until then was a bit of a roller coaster. Um, so since I've started my business, it's given me more motivation to want to do better in life and to want to keep track of my mental health. And because I've got this, you know, this project that I'm working on and this adventure, and it's exciting, and I think I need to keep my mental health on top form so I don't mess that up. So it goes hand in hand, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a motivator.
Yeah. Gives you like a purpose, right? Gives you something to
100%, yeah.
Yeah, to strive towards. So is there anything you would recommend? So if there's anyone watching this who, you know, suffers from bipolar as well, is there anything you would kind of recommend that they could do to try and help themselves as much as they can?
I would say, because obviously everyone's different and everyone has different passions, or they think, oh, I want to be this when I get older, or, you know, different career paths. So I would just say, if there's something that you feel passionate about, don't let your mental health, you know, hold you back from that. Just go for it and give it a go. And the worst that can happen is it will fail. You get yourself back up and you try again, and that's all you can do, really.
Yeah. Amazing. And that's like with anything in life, right? Like you're going to fail at things. You're not going to succeed at everything the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. I think that's really, really I think it's really inspiring that you've done this. And like this, I don't want this to sound patronizing, but you should be like really proud of like how far you've come from what you've said. I think that's just incredible.
Yeah, no, I am. At the start, it was quite scary, and I honestly didn't have a clue about businesses. I'd done a little short course just to give me the basics of running a business. And going into that course, I was so nervous. My anxiety was, you know, going 100 mile per hour. But once I got into it, and I thought, actually, no, I can do this, and it's quite settling. You've just got to take that first little step to push yourself.
Yeah.
And, you know, your fears, you can overcome them.
Yeah. And if you look at like how far you've come since you started, you said you only started the end of last year. And like now I see from like Facebook, like you're constantly doing things and you're constantly making cakes and doing things for people, which is amazing.
Yeah, I've got my first wedding cake in July, which I'm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah, I'm hoping that will open up a lot of doors for me as well. And, you know, it will boost my portfolio massively. So.
Definitely. Can you remember the moment when you decided, right, I'm just going to go for this, I'm just going to do it, and like what made you make that decision?
So it was actually a friend. She had started up a business, and I was sharing her business page and, you know, commenting and things like that. And she said to me, "It's your turn now." And I sat there and I thought about it, and I thought, actually, no, it is my turn now. I'm going to do this, get myself up, you know, organise what I need to do. I've done the business course. So a bit of motivation from her as well, and just believing in myself a bit more than I used to.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because you could be so like held back from doing something, and you can convince yourself that you don't want to do something and you can't do something, and then suddenly something just goes in your head and you're like, actually, do you know what? I can do it. And you prove to yourself that you can.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, so do you want to tell us a little bit actually about your business itself? Like what kind of cakes you do, like cakes you provide, like things you've been asked about in the past to do. Obviously, you've just said you got your first wedding cake, which is really exciting. But what other things have you kind of been asked to do?
So I do loads of different things. So I do cheesecakes and brownies, so different desserts and baked treats and things like that. Cake wise, you get all different designs sent to you, and I would never copy someone's cake, but I always say to customers, send me a couple of photos of your expectations and then I'll just create my own.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been, and flavors as well, you know, people message you, they want different flavors, different textures, so you have to experiment with those.
Yeah.
I don't, sometimes I have to taste things I don't like, but you have to taste it to make sure it tastes right. So yeah, I do all different things. Easter, I done the trial run for the treat boxes, which I want to do on the different seasons of the year, different occasions, Father's Day,
Yeah.
when the kids are leaving school to give to their teachers and things like that. So I tried run that, and it went really well.
Yeah.
Got feedback from that, so that's something I'm wanting to do in the future.
Yeah. Brilliant. And it's obviously Father's Day is coming up, isn't it, soon? So I'm sure you'll be getting some orders for that. Probably from me. I'll be like, give me another one. Incredible. Is it time consuming? Like, what's like the process? Like, how long does everything take?
It's not really it kind of is and it kind of isn't. So when you're baking a cake, obviously you have to bake the sponge first. and then you have to leave it to cool, and then you fill it and stack it and crumb coat it and put it in the fridge. So it's quite time consuming because it has to sit in the fridge for an hour or two to firm up, and then you decorate it, put it back in, firm up again. So it's more the waiting time. See, when you're baking it, you're waiting for it to bake. So work-wise, I could say it could take me 5 hours to make the cake from start to finish, but it has to take 5 hours because I have to take into consideration the times where it's been in the fridge. So it's not getting on with other stuff and doing other orders while I'm waiting for cakes to set. So and you can,
not too bad.
I've been doing cakes in the evening when the kids are in bed. You know, they're fast asleep and I'm still up till 12 o'clock working on a cake. So it's great. I can do it in the day, do it in the evening.
So you can just fit it around your schedule, basically.
Yeah, pretty much,
Yeah, that's so good. I think that's so important when it comes to being a business owner, because I think a lot of people, like when they start their own business, they're like, okay, I'm going to have so much time, I can be in charge. But actually, depending on what you do, that's not always the case. So it's really good that if you can find something like that, I think, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of people do go into starting up business thinking, oh, I'm going to be my own boss, I can set the times and the rules, but it doesn't always work like that. You know, you have deadlines. Like when I do the wedding cake in July, you know, that cake has got to be finished and be perfect, ready to be delivered in the morning. So
yeah, it's pressure, isn't it? It's like, oh my god. But then like the benefits of that, like when you do it and it's amazing and everyone's so grateful, like that feeling is like, okay, it's worth the pressure.
Yeah, it is. You get a buzz out of it, and I love it. I love the comments that I get, and the feedback, and like, oh my god, that cake was amazing. Not only the way it looks, but the way it tastes as well, because that's obviously the most important thing for me is the way it tastes. But for the customer, it's probably the way it looks.
Yeah, true. Definitely at a first glance, anyway, isn't it? And then they taste it and they're like, oh my god, amazing.
Got to be a bit of both.
Yeah, exactly. So if someone's who's watching this, if they're thinking about starting their own cake business, what would you have any specific advice that you would give them, like, or any kind of like be prepared for blah blah blah?
I would say obviously you need to have the right equipment to start with. I'm still building my kit up and it's quite expensive, and it's all the little things that add up, and when I get people asking me to do specific cakes, I have to then purchase a new piece of equipment because I haven't got it. So just make sure you've got a decent, you know, kit to start off with. Know the basics, obviously. Know the timings, because I've even been in that position where I've made a cake, I've crumb coated it, put it in the fridge, took it out too soon, gone to decorate it, and then everything's just started to melt on me.
Oh no! You have to start again.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, which is a bit of a nice learn by your mistakes as you go on, which I have, and you know, as time goes on, my cakes are getting better and better, and they look better and they taste better. So you just learn as you go on. Just be patient, don't rush.
Yeah.
Also, I've just sourced out a good supplier, which is cake stuff. So finding the right supplier, you know, just you have to really look into. It's quite, people just think, oh, get in the kitchen, bake a cake, and it's done. But it's not. It's quite a complicated process from start to finish.
Yeah, definitely. Because I guess people would probably just think, oh, it's fine, like just go to the shop and get this and that. But that's not how it works, is it? You've got to really.
Yeah, that's it. Some things you have to get from certain suppliers, which you couldn't get in the shops, which is most of the stuff now that I use, which I use cake stuff for my supplier, which I wouldn't in a million years be able to walk into a supermarket and get. So
yeah. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to say, like that you want to just share, whether that's about your business, whether it's about your mental health, anything at all?
I would just like to say, like, if there is anyone out there suffering with a mental health condition, I think everyone goes through a bit of mental health throughout their life, whether it's anxiety or depression, you know, mild or severe. If you're feeling worried, just, you know, have a sit back, have a think, just think, no, I can do this, and just, you know, believe in yourself a bit more and go out there and do it. And like I say, if it fails, you try again, and you just go in. So
yeah. Well, thank you for being so open about everything. So I know sometimes it's hard to talk about these kind of things. So like, we really appreciate that, and I'm really grateful that you did that. So thank you. Lastly, before you go, where can people find you? Where can they get your cakes from?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and it's Cherrelle's Cakes. If anyone wants a cake, just pop me a message on there. I reply pretty much straight away. So any design, any idea, any flavour, I'm open to trying anything. So
Everyone's going to start setting you challenges now. You're going to be like, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that.
just been asked to make a freebie predator cake. So
Oh my God.
which is amazing. It will be challenging, but it's awesome. Yeah.
I love it. I can't wait to see that. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Cherrelle. As I said, I really appreciate you doing that and coming on and talking to us. And I really look forward to trying another cake from you. I've already ordered some cakes from Cherrelle and they were just incredible. I can't wait. Thank you so much. And we'll upload the video onto YouTube as well. So we'll be sharing that. And we will catch up with everybody soon. So thank you for watching.